Good afternoon, Year 4, and welcome to your computing lesson on Wednesday, the 24th of February. I hope you really enjoyed the computing that we did last term and you creating your games using Scratch. And this term, we're going to be doing similar skills or using similar skills, but in a slightly different way. So we're going to be today, we're learning to recognize that an algorithm will help us sequence more complex problems. Okay. So before half term, we learned about sequencing, code and algorithms, and we created our games. And we also learned that sequencing is just as important for robots too. And we watched this little video that I'm just going to recap with you. Okay, so just that quick little video there about ordering for that robot. So why is order important for that robot? He had to stand up, but how? What did he have to do first and then after that? Maybe would it have worked in a different order? Why or why not? Hopefully you know you have to stand up in a certain way. And we're going to be looking more at robots in this lesson. So this yellow thing here, this is a floor robot, and some of you might have used it before or used a slightly different version in Key Stage 1. But we would be using this actual floor robot if we were in school. Now, don't worry, we're still going to do something fun today, but we're going to be using a floor robot on the computer. And we're going to be giving it some instructions. Now, first instructions on a robot like this are called initial conditions. And these are always important to think about when designing an algorithm. So it's about how to start, where to start, pointing in what way, and starting on what grid point. And that will be really important in a minute, because it's not just like the Scratch sprite that you can move around. You're going to have to put this robot somewhere first. Okay, I'm not even going to go on to that page first of all. So I'm going to ask you instead in a moment to go on to an internet browser. So I've got a swiggle open here, and for today we're going to be typing in code.irobot.com, and we're going to click enter in the top there. Now don't worry if you can't remember that, I will put it in the link on the learning page today, but this is the program we're using today. We're not looking at Scratch anymore. It might take a couple of minutes just to load up, and it says it's an education program, but we're going to be focusing on using almost a little sprite. They don't quite call them sprites here, they just call them robots, but it's a floor robot on a screen, and we're going to be making it move. Now, if you imagine we were in class and we had a floor robot, how would it be moving around? Would you be able to do the same things you have with your sprite? We'll have a look. So the first thing we're going to ask you to do is go to the big plus at the bottom left here. Now, this program here, this project is just one I was fiddling with a moment ago. So we're going to go on to a brand new one, and it should bring you up a different document on the right hand side there. So you can see mine's loaded up and it says new project. Okay. So the first thing I want you to notice is it's similar to Scratch in that everything happens on the right hand side and your code will go on the left hand side, but this is your floor robot. Okay, before I do anything else, I can notice that it's on a gridded page. And if I go to some of these buttons here, I can click and make the grid zoom in and zoom out, and it does go all the way out, not that you need too much, or zoom in. And I quite like it at about there, so I can see the whole grid, and I can see a little bit more than when it's that zoomed in. So I'm going to zoom out once. Then you've got a turtle button, and this is just basically a turtle that's saying slow, and a turtle that, or not a turtle anymore, but something that's going quicker, and that's for when you program it. And then you've got a color tool if you're using a pen for later on. The next thing I need to show you is then the code on the left-hand side. So there is a when play is pressed button, and that's very similar to the when the flag is clicked. that we use on Sprite. And that has been dragged out from the bottom here. Now you can see as soon as I clicked on it and dragged it, it disappeared. The bottom section disappeared, and I can drag my code out. And if I don't want it, I click on it again and put it in the bin. It does make a very loud noise though, that bin. You can also then see on the left-hand side, you've got your play button and you've got your stop button. And again, I can press the button there and zoom in and zoom out on my code. Okay, last bit then is this bar along the bottom. When the play is pressed, when the sensors are hit, when the lights happen, and so on. And we're going to be focusing mainly on some of these yellow ones today. So I did mention those initial conditions first of all though, didn't I? So I'm just going to go back to that PowerPoint. Initial conditions are about where that floor robot starts. So my floor robot has been put really nicely in the middle of a grid at the moment. I don't need to move it. I can, however, then start to program. So I'm going to take one of the forwards and I'm going to click it just like you would do onto Scratch onto my when it's pressed, and just checking when I click that button. Excellent. And you can see it's gone forward 1 square. So I don't need to put a number or anything or tell it how many steps, but it has gone forward 1. Then I can think about using a direction. What do you think will happen now when I press the play button? Hopefully lots of you have realized it will start from the beginning. It will go forward and then left. It won't just turn left now, it will go forward and left. So let's try that again. And can you notice it didn't go left, it turned. So I've gone 1 forward, turn. And I can repeat that. 1 forward and a turn to the left. It's going a 90 degrees turn. So let's have a look now. 1 forward, 90 degree left. 1 forward, 90 degree left. And then it stops. Now I could keep doing that and try and make a square and do another forward, left, but there are also some other tools. So this blue one here, this too is quite interesting, quite useful because this is a repeat button. So what I can do is put it in the middle and then move my code in between it. And then I can get rid of these on the end. Oh, in that very, there you go. So how many times do you think it's going to repeat now? And hopefully you'll say, oh, it's 2 because there's a 2 written there. And if you click that, you can make it repeat 4 times. But my robot isn't actually in the right place at the moment to start off for me. So I'm actually going to press refresh over here. And it's going to take my robot back to the middle. And now I'm going to test it from the beginning. So forward, once left, forward, once left, forward, once left, and forward, once left. And you can see that it's actually ended up nicely in exactly the same spot and position. So it's not just in the same square, it's facing the same way as well. So I've made a square. Now the other thing I'm going to show you is using the pen tool. So I can grab this pen, put it before, and this means the pen is going to go down. So just as if we were in school using actual Probots, we'd push a pen through so you could see it drawing. So I'm going to choose the color to be green because I quite like green, and then I'm going to press it again and see what happens now. Oh, move the color out of the way. Excellent. Okay, so you can see that it's completed that code, and if I just move my robot out the way, you can see it's made a perfect square. Job 1 for you to do today is to have a play on it. But before I let you have a play, I'm just going to show you what your task is going to be for later. So your task is going to be to use the iRobot to create or write some numbers and letters. It may sound quite simple, but you're going to really need to think logically and break the problem down into smaller steps before pressing go on your Probot or pressing that forward arrow. That looked a little bit like that go on the iRobot. because remember, we're not using the Probots in school. Unfortunately, we're doing it online. So let's start with the number 2. How do you think we could make that number 2? Maybe think about where your Probot's going to start. So is it better for us to be looking at that number 2 in that way? Yes, it will be quite a straight lined number 2, but you're almost going to have to turn your head and imagine that you are sat at the base. So I'm going to have to go forward, and I'm going to have to turn right and forward again and turn right and then turn left. So I'm going to see if I can do that one with you. So I'm going to restart on my right hand side over there. And I'm also going to be getting rid of all of the code. Bang. Okay, so zoom out slightly. And I'm going to need my when the start button is pressed. I'm going to want to put my pen down. Oh. There we go. Pen down, and I need to think about where I need to move it. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is turn it. So I need to go to the right. And I'm actually going to put that before I put my pen down because I just need to turn it before it moves. And then I'm going to need to go forward 1. And I can press it and tell you how many centimeters, but the 16 centimeters there is 1 square, so that's fine for now. So turning right, forward 1, I'm going to turn right again. And forward 1. Right, forward. You can see I'm having to map it out in my head as well. Turn it right, forward, turn it right, forward 1. I think, turn it right, forward 1. I'm just going to have to zoom out over here. Turn it left, forward 1, turn it right, forward 1. I think that's about right. Let's check. So that would be what I would plan anyway. Let's then see if it works. Oh no, I was so close. What have I done wrong? And you can then see that the last turn I made, I turned the wrong way. I needed to turn to the other way to do my last bit of my 2, but that is absolutely fine. It's all about debugging. So I know I've done that code wrong. What I can do is edit my code, and it was this last turn here. That was the one that was wrong. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Bin. Then I'm going to turn left. And I'm just going to move my robot up here for now. And try again. Oh no, what did I do wrong that time? The initial program wasn't there. So even though it might do a lovely 2 right now, it's actually the wrong way around because I didn't set up those initial commands. So you have to make sure that your iRobot is facing the right way first of all. So now it's facing in that upward position where I started. Finally, I can do it once more to show that I can make a number 2. Now again, it is very a straight number 2. It's very squared off edges. That's absolutely fine. And it finishes there. The only thing I would do to make that even better, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller on this side again, is I want to make sure that my robot or my iRobot ends in the same way. So I'm going to turn it left once more on the end, just so it would end up back in that starting position. But you can see how that works. So your task today is going to be to do exactly as I did. You try and program it before, and that's before you debug it. So I'd write in my original code in there with my forward arrow. So I would almost write, let's see if I can use pens on this. There you go, I can start inking. So I said that I would do 1 forward. That is a very funny arrow. Let's try that again. 1 forward, 1 right, 1 forward, 1 right, 1 forward, 1 left, forward, I think it was a left again for the mistake I made. And then you would show what you did after you programmed it, after the debugging, to show whether you made any changes. And it's absolutely fine for you to make changes. You don't have to get it right first time. Your task today then will be to try the numbers 2, 3, 8, and 9 and challenge yourself. If you find it tricky, do some of the more simple numbers. If you find it easy, try and make the hard numbers. And then maybe if you want to challenge yourself even more and go deeper, try numbers with diagonal lines and maybe some letters. Would numbers or letters be curved edgy, be trickier, or are they still able to be created? Maybe trying the A and doing 2 pointed lines. Again, it will get trickier, but I just hope you enjoy having a go at that today and using the iRobot app to do this on the computer. I wish you lots and lots of luck. You are more than welcome to message me, even if you're in Stowe class, if you need a little bit of help with this, but have a play with it, have a tinker with it, and good luck. I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing some of your pictures, even if you print screened the computing if you want to share it. Thanks very much. Bye for now.